back at Junglefish because why would I not be? And I wanted to talk about vulnerability hangovers. So this is a concept that when we are practicing, because it's always a practice, engaging in vulnerability in the service of being more wholehearted, that even little bits of it at first can give us an after effect, an aftertaste, or we might give ourselves some flack. And it's worth taking some time to nurse that. You call it nursing a hangover for a reason, right? It's like you have a little bit of illness. It's self-induced, and in this case it's self-induced as well, because you're choosing to become a more vulnerable, more wholehearted person. And in service of that, and on the way, there's no destination, but in that unfolding process, in that unfurling of vulnerability and wholeheartedness, it's gonna hurt a little, and it's worth it, because being able to deal with that kind of hurt makes us more able to deal with everything that is unexpected, everything that is unimagined in life, everything that we cannot control. So I went to a cacao ceremony last night, and there was an opportunity in the middle of it to share, if anybody wanted to share. And this time I chose not to share my words, I chose to share a song. And I'm accustomed to leading circle songs when I give workshops. I'm accustomed to singing for my students when they are in Shavasana at the end of a yoga class, when they're lying down and resting. And I'm accustomed to people being very receptive to that and wanting me to do that and being really open to it. And in this case, it felt like I did a chant call and response, and maybe only half of the people participated, and not so enthusiastically. I'm at the pool, right? So you hear a nice splishy splash. And it may have been my perception, it may have been what was actually happening in the room, but I felt a resentment towards me, or a resistance towards participating, as though I was trying to take over leadership, and I hadn't earned it, I didn't deserve it, I wasn't a part of their tribe, I hadn't proved myself, as though one needs to prove themselves in order to invite people to participate in a chant. And it was a chant that I really love and cherish. It's from, I think I learned it at the Renaissance Fair. When I was in high school, I worked at a Renaissance Fair, and I absolutely loved it. It was one of the highlights of my life. Maybe when I was 15 and 16, I did it 2 years in a row. And I'll just sing it for you. May the circle be open but unbroken. May the love of the universe be ever in our hearts. Merry meet and merry part, and merry meet again. And so I led it in the hopes that we might be able to do a round, because we hadn't done a round, and I find myself feeling incredibly connected and moved when I'm a part of a round, and I wanted to provide that experience, I wanted to have that experience, I wanted to share it. And then there was really lackluster applause afterwards, and that hurt a bit, but people didn't seem to appreciate my offering very much. And then there was a rendition of Shallow, the Lady Gaga song from the movie A Star Is Born, and it was supposed to be a duet between a man and his wife, and he said anybody can sing along, so everybody knew the first verse, but nobody knew the second verse except for me, including her. She didn't know it either, or she forgot it, or she had nerves in that moment. And so I felt like, oh, I was singing it loudly, like everyone was singing the first one, and then I felt like, oh, I overstepped, and then he was like, no, go ahead, because she had forgotten it, you know? And so I sang out, and it felt so good. 'Cause, you know, that song's really satisfying. Tell me something, boy. Aren't you tired trying to fill that void? Or do you need more? Ain't there some, it's ain't it hard keeping it so hardcore? I'm falling. In all the good times I find myself longing for change, and in the bad times I fear myself. And then it goes up really high, and I can reach that in my good moments, but I'm not gonna do that right now. So I did that, and I really sang out, and then after that expansion and that sort of risk that, like, I'm gonna share something, I'm gonna invite people to join in, and not everybody joins in, and then the risk of taking over somebody's duet part because they forgot it or blanked or had a moment. Then I felt like, oh, I want to get small now. I just kind of like curled up, and in my resting pose at the end, I curled up in the fetal position and got very, very small. And maybe sometimes that's what is needed after the vulnerability and after the hangover. Maybe part of the nursing is to become quite small and tell oneself that it's okay. And that's how we flex and tear a little bit to grow a muscle. Because that's how science works, that's how nature works. In order, you want to make a muscle stronger, you use it, you get little tears in your muscle fibers, and then you rest, it heals, and what that healing means is it grows back stronger. So we can grow to a heretofore unimagined level of tolerance, really, tolerance to vulnerability by nursing it afterwards. I'm gonna take you with me into the pool. This is my new swimsuit. It's by Sun Bee, which is a local company. Oh, that feels good, that feels good. There we go. You might notice I'm not getting my hair wet today, but I probably will in a moment. Remember the amazing view? Just gonna give you a little 360 as I doggy paddle. Oh. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you like this, I'm sure you'll love my live Get Vocal show on Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Pacific, and we'll be talking more deeply about vulnerability, hangovers, and how we might nurse them. I love you. Thanks for being with me in Bali.